Every man longs for closeness with the woman he loves. It's natural to want to open your heart, to reveal your thoughts, to share your pain, your doubts, your deepest struggles, believing that honesty will make the bond stronger. A man hopes that by exposing his soul, she will feel even closer to him, that she will admire his vulnerability, that she will hold him tighter and never let go. And yes, the desire to be understood, to be fully seen, is deeply human. Every man feels it at some point. But here is the harsh truth. Not all honesty builds intimacy. Some truths don't pull her closer. They quietly push her away. Some confessions don't make her respect you more. They erode the very foundation of attraction. It's not because women are heartless. It's not because she doesn't care. It's because certain types of openness shift the dynamic in a dangerous way. Instead of seeing you as strong, steady, and desirable, she starts to see you as fragile, dependent, or even pitiful. And once that shift happens, it is almost impossible to reverse. So understand this. There are things you should never confess, never over-explain, never unload onto the woman you love. Not if you want her respect, her trust, and her desire to stay alive. Let's begin. After a fight, emotions are high. You've argued, you've clashed, voices were raised, pride was tested, and finally, the storm seems to calm. You reconcile. This is the fragile moment when many men destroy the respect they worked so hard to build. Instead of letting silence heal the wound, instead of standing firm and steady, they rush to prove how deeply they've suffered. They start confessing, I couldn't eat for 2 days, I couldn't sleep, my heart hurt right here, look, right here. Gentlemen, the moment you do this, you stop being the man she looks up to. You transform yourself into someone to be pitied. And pity, no matter how much you crave her sympathy, is the fastest poison to attraction. Understand this clearly. A woman can love a man she respects, but she cannot desire a man she feels sorry for. Desire and pity cannot live in the same space. One pushes out the other. Yes, she may hug you. She may even stroke your hair, kiss your forehead, and say soft, reassuring words. But inside, something shifts. A switch flips that you may not notice right away. Desire fades, and in its place grows responsibility. Like she is your caretaker, not your lover. And that dynamic is fatal for love. Because once a woman feels responsible for your emotions the way a nurse cares for a patient, her body stops craving you. She doesn't want to be intimate with the man who collapses in her arms like a child. She wants to feel safe with a man who holds his ground even when tested. A wise man knows this. After conflict, he does not collapse into her chest, pouring out every pain. He doesn't turn reconciliation into a theater of suffering, where he plays the role of a broken victim and she plays the role of healer. Instead, he stays calm. He keeps his composure. He shows her not how much he hurt, but how much strength he carries. Because it's that strength that reassures her heart. And paradoxically, it's that calmness, not tears or pleas, that draws her closer again. There is no faster way to poison your current relationship than to start talking about what you did for your ex. I bought her this. I sacrificed that. I endured so much for her. You may think you're being honest, or even showing how deeply you can love. But to your current woman, it sounds completely different. What she actually hears is, he poured his effort, money, and soul into a woman who mistreated him. And now, with me, who treats him better, he does less. That thought is devastating. It plants a seed of injustice in her mind, a belief that the more loyal, kind, and stable she is, the less she will be valued. And once that seed grows, respect and attraction begin to rot from the inside out. Because here's the brutal truth. When a woman feels that men only reward drama, toxicity, or disrespect, she will eventually test you the same way. She'll start pushing boundaries, creating unnecessary conflict, and withdrawing affection. Not because she wants to, but because subconsciously she's trying to confirm what you've already told her. That only difficult women get a man's devotion. Even worse, when you glorify your ex, you shift the spotlight backward. Instead of letting your current woman feel like she is the star of your life, you're dragging a ghost into the room. And no woman wants to compete with a memory. The past should stay buried. Your sacrifices for another woman should never be the currency you spend in your current relationship. If you gave too much before, learn from it. But never put your ex on a pedestal, even indirectly. Because every time you speak of her, every time you recount the lengths you went for her, your current woman silently asks herself, why is he still carrying her in his heart? And if he loved her so much, will he ever love me the same way? And once that question takes root, it never fully goes away. So keep your ex in the past where she belongs. Respect your current woman by giving her something no ghost from your history can ever compete with. Your full presence, your undivided loyalty, and the proof that your best efforts belong to her, not to someone who walked away. Men often mistake honesty for full disclosure. They believe that if they reveal every wound, every painful memory, every humiliation, their woman will admire their vulnerability. They think, she'll love me even more if she knows how much I've suffered. But in reality, this is one of the fastest ways to lower yourself in her eyes. Telling her how you were bullied in school, how your classmates never respected you, how you were ignored, rejected, or seen as insignificant, it doesn't create sympathy that strengthens love. It creates an image that sticks to you, an image of weakness that she cannot easily unsee. Because here's the truth. Women don't separate the past from the present as neatly as men think. When she hears those stories, she doesn't process them like a therapist would, detached and clinical. She feels them, and what she feels is shame, secondhand shame. She pictures you being mocked, ridiculed, belittled, and part of her associates that humiliation with you now in the present. And once that picture is painted in her mind, it lingers. Even if today you are strong, successful, respected, she cannot erase the image of the boy who was overlooked, the man who admitted he was once invisible. And in quiet moments, that picture whispers to her, maybe he's not as strong as he seems. Maybe deep down, he's still that boy. This is why those confessions are dangerous. Because attraction is not built on pity. Pity does not excite. Pity does not spark desire. Attraction is built on strength, trust, stability, and presence. It's built on the sense that her man is solid, that he can carry himself, and even carry her when life demands it. Of course, this doesn't mean you must act like a stone, hiding all your humanity. Women value depth and authenticity. But there is a difference between sharing your soul and unloading your scars. A wise man chooses carefully which parts of his past to reveal. He shows growth, resilience, and lessons learned, not helplessness, victimhood, or shame. So remember this, when you speak about yourself, you are not just telling a story. You are shaping the way she sees you. Every detail you share either builds or breaks the image of strength in her mind. Protect that image, because once it cracks, it is nearly impossible to restore. Gentlemen, never feed her stories that chip away at the foundation of attraction. Do not confuse honesty with self-sabotage. Attraction isn't built on weakness. It is built on respect, confidence, and the steady presence of a man who knows his worth. If you have to say it, you're not it. True leadership doesn't come from declarations, demands, or titles. It comes from the quiet, steady weight of your presence. Leadership is not announced. It is lived. A man who starts lecturing his girlfriend about how he's the leader has already revealed his insecurity. Think about it. Real authority is never spoken. It's felt. The moment you have to insist, I'm in charge here, you've already lost ground. Respect cannot be forced with words. It cannot be extracted by threats, arguments, or ultimatums. Respect is earned through action, through consistency, through the way you move in the world. A woman doesn't need you to tell her you are the leader. She knows it, or she doesn't, by the way you live. She watches how you handle stress. She feels how you set boundaries. She notices how you treat yourself, your work, your body, your values. If you stay calm under pressure, if you keep building no matter what storms hit, if you carry yourself like a man who trusts his own direction, she naturally falls into your frame. Not because you told her to, but because she feels safer and stronger beside you than anywhere else. But when you try to talk her into it, when you try to explain why you should be the head, why she should follow you, that is weakness disguised as leadership. And women sense it instantly. Remember, leadership is not about control. It is not about restricting her, forcing her, or lecturing her into obedience. True leadership is about self-mastery, about setting the tone of the relationship through your actions, about being the man whose presence commands respect, without ever having to ask for it. Because the moment you proclaim it, you prove you don't truly have it. Balance of power, attraction theory, significance, value, all of these concepts may sound fascinating when you're watching videos, reading books, or taking notes for yourself. But here's the hard truth. They belong in your journal, not in your girlfriend's ears. The moment you start breaking down to her why she's attracted to you, why she tests you, or how the balance of significance works, you strip away the magic. What once felt natural and instinctive now becomes clinical, calculated, and worst of all, predictable. And predictability kills respect. You may think you're educating her, guiding her, or helping her understand how relationships work. But in reality, what you're communicating is insecurity. You're showing that you don't fully believe in your own strength, so you need theory to back it up. A truly confident man doesn't explain why he's attractive. He simply is. He doesn't analyze his leadership, he lives it. And here's where it gets dangerous. Once you explain the mechanics, she has the blueprint, and in moments of conflict, she can weaponize it against you. Suddenly, your own words are thrown back at you. Didn't you say balance of power is important? Well, now I'm the one with more power. What are you going to do about it? By over-explaining, you give her the tools to dismantle you. You hand her the very frame you should be protecting. Mystery, on the other hand, creates respect. A man who doesn't reveal all of his cards keeps a woman intrigued. She feels his strength, but she doesn't fully understand it. She feels his authority, but she can't quite explain it. And that tension, that unspoken mystery, keeps her attracted. Over-explaining is an attempt to control through logic, but relationships, desire, respect, they don't run on logic. They run on energy, on presence, on emotion. A woman doesn't want to sit through a lecture. She wants to feel the strength of a man without him narrating it. So remember, every time you're tempted to explain the rules of attraction to her, stop yourself. The more you reveal, the less she respects. The more you try to educate her, the more you sound like a man who doesn't trust himself. Because at the end of the day, the men who hold the most power in relationships are not the ones who talk about the mechanics of power. They're the ones who embody it, quietly, consistently, and without ever needing to explain. Yes, she's your partner. Yes, she cares. But if every conversation with her is about your stress, your failures, your worries, and your endless complaints, then you are no longer her man. You've become her emotional burden. At first, she may listen. She may try to comfort you. She may even give advice. But over time, something inside her begins to shift. Instead of associating you with strength, energy, and inspiration, she starts to associate you with heaviness, with negativity, with a weight that drags her down. Understand this clearly. Women don't fall in love with men they pity. They don't admire men who constantly need saving. A man who complains all the time may earn her sympathy, but he loses her respect. And once respect is gone, desire follows close behind. Women respect men who can carry themselves, who can take life's blows without collapsing every time there's a storm. It's not about pretending you're invincible. It's about showing that you can stand tall even when the world tries to knock you down. She needs to feel that when she leans on you, you won't crumble. So instead of dumping every fear and frustration onto her, share what lifts her spirit. Share your joy, your vision, your excitement about the future. Share the strength that reminds her why she chose you in the first place. When she feels your confidence, when she sees your resilience, when she feels your energy uplifting her instead of draining her, that is when she stays by your side, not just as a partner, but as a woman who admires you, desires you, and respects you deeply. Because attraction doesn't grow from constant negativity. It grows when your presence makes her feel safe, alive, and inspired. Never, ever throw your good deeds in her face. I did this for you. I sacrificed that for you. You may think this will awaken her conscience, that it will remind her of how much you've given, how deeply you've invested, and that she will finally value you more. But the harsh reality is this: it never works that way. A woman will not melt. She will not suddenly feel grateful. She will not fall into your arms with tears of appreciation. Instead, her answer will be sharp and simple. Then stop doing anything for me. And in that single moment, everything you've built begins to crumble. Because here's the psychology behind it. When you weaponize your sacrifices, you turn love into a debt. You transform what should have been a gift of your strength, your time, your energy, into a contract she never signed. And the moment she feels that pressure, her heart shuts down. Gratitude cannot be forced. Respect cannot be demanded. Love cannot be guilt-tripped into existence. When you remind her of what you've done, you are not elevating yourself in her eyes. You are lowering yourself, showing that you gave not out of abundance, but out of expectation. And women feel this instantly. They sense when a man's giving comes from strength and when it comes from need. True strength never needs to announce itself. A man who gives quietly, without demand, communicates power. A man who lists his sacrifices communicates weakness. Worse, once you play this card, you can never take it back. Even if she stays, even if she argues, deep inside, she has lost respect. Because instead of showing composure, you showed desperation. Instead of reminding her why she chose you, you reminded her that you expect payment. Gentlemen, this is why it is the most dangerous mistake. Not because you shouldn't give, not because you shouldn't sacrifice, but because the moment you demand credit for it, all the meaning of those sacrifices turns to dust. And in that instant, desire dies. Gentlemen, hear me clearly. Honesty is valuable. Vulnerability has its place. But there are truths that must be carried with dignity, not dumped in her lap. Never beg for pity. Never glorify your ex. Never expose weakness in a way that kills respect. And never think lecturing will replace leadership, because once you cross these lines, the countdown begins. Stay wise, stay calm, and remember, a woman can love you deeply, but she will only desire you if she respects you. If you're ready to learn more of these unspoken truths that no one else dares to tell you, hit subscribe right now so you never miss the lessons that keep you in control of your relationships.